surviving after crash landing in another world.
Stay close to the wall.
Sol shouted with one hand braced against the rock face. Minjun froze. The red moss directly ahead had curled all the way into the cracks in the rock. Even the hot wind had stopped for a moment. Behind them, the black beast lowered its body. It was about to pounce.
The wind is being drawn inward right now.
Sol caught her breath.
Next it'll burst outward.
Minjun studied the path ahead. The large vent that would release the steam was close enough to touch. To the left was a shallow hollow that looked too small to hold even half a person. It was not safe, but there was nowhere else to go. The beast's claws scraped across the rock. Minjun unfolded his utility knife. He was not trying to fight. He cut a long strip from the torn fabric beside his left knee. The cloth had stuck to the wound, and blood seeped out again when he peeled it away. He scrubbed his knee and wet sleeve with the strip of cloth. Blood and blue powder stained the fabric. It gave off a faint glow.
What are you going to do with that?
It followed this.
Minjun pointed to a sharp stone beside the hot rock.
Can you hang it there?
Sol pushed the short piece of metal in her hand into a crack. She leaned forward even as she dragged her injured right foot behind her.
Give me the cloth.
Minjun handed it over. Using the tip of the metal shard, Sol pushed the cloth onto the sharp stone. It hung right beside the large vent. Steam rose where the fabric touched the hot rock. Sol immediately pulled the metal shard free. The black beast's head moved. Its face turned away from Minjun and toward the blood-stained cloth. It stepped toward the heated fabric.
Now.
Minjun pulled Sol's arm over his shoulder. Together, they forced themselves into the shallow hollow on the left. Sol's right foot caught on the ground.
Wait.
She tipped backward. Minjun caught her around the waist. His left knee buckled, but he drove his shoulder into the wall and held them both up. The beast charged directly behind them. They fell into the hollow. It was so shallow that their backs and arms remained exposed. Minjun pushed Sol's head down and buried his own face in his arm. Scalding steam erupted from the fissure. It did not blast only forward. Some of it struck the rock and spread sideways. Scalding droplets battered Minjun's right arm.
Gah.
The burn he had already suffered felt as though it were on fire again. He wanted to pull his arm away, but Sol's face was beneath it. Minjun clenched his teeth and held his position. Sol swallowed a short scream. Part of her right leg still stuck out of the hollow, and the hot steam grazed the hem of her pants. The black beast let out a guttural cry. With one forepaw planted on the blood-stained cloth, it took the steam blast head-on. Its black back grew wet, and smoke rose between its legs. But it did not fall. It twisted its body and turned its head toward the hollow.
Come out.
Sol's voice trembled.
The steam is still strong.
It's weakening now. It'll surge again next.
Minjun raised his arm and looked ahead. The rock on the far side appeared briefly through the white steam before vanishing again. They could not wait for it to stop completely. The beast was searching for them too. Minjun pulled himself out of the hollow first. His right arm would barely respond. He caught Sol's arm with his left hand.
Push with your left foot.
Sol kicked against the wall, and Minjun pulled. The moment her right foot touched the ground, her body wavered. Minjun drew her against him. They crossed during the lull in the steam. 3 steps. 4. When they reached the bend in the rock ahead, a hot wind struck their backs. The steam had surged again. Minjun did not look back. Supporting Sol's weight, he made his way down the narrow slope. His own left knee kept giving out. They were less walking than leaning against each other to keep from falling. Rocks struck together behind them. The beast had escaped the large vent.
We have to keep going.
Minjun spoke through his breath.
I know.
Sol gritted her teeth and stepped forward on her left foot. They did not stop until the passage had bent twice. A shallow recess lay between the rocks below. The wind could not reach it directly, and the ground was dry. Minjun seated Sol inside, then collapsed against the wall beside her. For a while, neither of them could speak. Minjun opened his backpack first. The water bottle was intact. He unscrewed the cap, took only one sip, and passed it to Sol. Sol merely wet her lips before handing it back. A little less than half the bottle remained. Sol examined Minjun's right arm. The burn was red and swollen, but the blisters had not broken yet.
Don't pour water on it now. We have too little left.
Minjun checked Sol's leg in turn. The ankle that had been pinned was even more swollen, and the calf grazed by the steam was red. They could both still walk, but neither could run. Minjun broke off half of the remaining half of the chocolate bar. He split that piece evenly so they could both eat.
Does it have to be exactly equal?
That way we won't fight about it later.
They ate their shares in silence. 1/4 of the full bar remained, wrapped in one side of the wrapper. Their stomachs were still empty. Minjun surveyed the recess. It had only one entrance and no place where water dripped. They could conceal firelight, but smoke would be harder to hide. It had never been suitable as a place to spend the night. Still, they could not move again immediately in their condition. They decided to catch their breath here and secure only food and an ember they could carry when they left. But they had lost their previous ember while escaping the beast. Minjun opened the broken flashlight and pulled out a thin wire from inside it. Beneath the stones in the recess, he found a handful of dry fibers, some thin bark, and 4 dry roots as long as his forearm.
Can you make a fire with that?
If the battery has any power left.
His trembling hands ruined the first attempt. Only half the fibers charred before the flame died. Minjun gathered what remained, while Sol blocked the entrance with her body to reduce the wind. On the second attempt, the thin wire glowed red and caught an ember. When Sol slowly blew on it, a small flame rose. But one of the batteries was now completely dead. Minjun split the thin bark and 2 of the dry roots, then fed them into the fire. He saved the other 2 roots for when they moved. They stood flat stones around the fire to block its light. Then Sol reached toward the rock beside her. A small shell clung beneath a thick layer of red moss. It was no longer than the first joint of her finger, and it was empty inside. Sol lifted the moss a little. 2 more similar shells lay underneath.
There might be something here we can eat.
Minjun peered into the shell.
You eat these.
This one is empty. It means vent shellbugs live nearby.
Sol inserted the short metal shard into a crack in the rock. Pressing down on the end with both hands, she bent it a little at a time. Soon the tip of the shard had become a small hook.
Have you eaten them before?
Yes, I had to if I wanted to survive.
Sol offered no further explanation. Instead, she placed the empty shell close to the fire.
Only pull them out right after the steam stops, and don't let the blue fluid touch your hands.
How do we cook them?
Until the shell splits and the inside turns white.
Minjun looked beyond the entrance. He did not want to go back out yet. The black beast might still be somewhere along the path above them. But all they had eaten were 2 pieces of chocolate, and very little remained.
Where do we find them?
Sol pointed up the passage.
We don't have to go all the way to the large vent. There's a smaller one just around the first bend. The red moss was thick there.
There was only one path. Heading upward from their recess, they would reach the small vent first. Farther up were the large vent and the black beast.
Let's make a marker for the way back first.
Minjun leaned 2 flat stones together at the entrance to the recess. He pointed their sharp ends inward.
This marks the way back.
Sol examined the red moss.
Pull your hand away as soon as the moss curls up. If I strike twice, retreat.
She struck the rock twice with the hook.
And once?
It means we're still safe.
Minjun added a piece of dry root to the fire so it would not go out easily. Keeping its light concealed, they moved up the passage. The steam at the small vent around the first bend had just stopped. Sol looked back and forth between the red moss and the path above. When the moss spread open again, she struck the rock once. Minjun raised the moss with the tip of his knife and pulled the bugs out with the hook. Without touching their bodies, which were beaded with blue fluid, he placed 2 of them on a flat stone. When the moss curled inward again, Sol struck twice. They immediately retreated to the recess. After only 2 more trips timed to the same signals, 6 bugs lay in front of the fire. They had discarded one on the spot when it sprayed blue fluid. Sol turned a bug over with the hook. Its shell split open, revealing the flesh inside. Pale at first, the meat turned firm and white in the heat.
We can eat them now.
Minjun picked one up and split it in half. He gave the first half to Sol. They divided 4 of the bugs equally between them. There was little meat and hardly anything to chew, but the warmth in their stomachs eased the trembling in their hands. They set the remaining 2 on a stone a short distance from the fire, so they could dry slowly. They still had too little water and food, but at least they had found somewhere they could return tomorrow.
Next time, we prepare the fire first and make only 1 trip.
Sol nodded.
If we stay too long, the black one will find us too.
They had secured food and a portable ember. They had stopped after gathering only what they had planned. Now it was time to leave the recess with its single entrance. The longer they stayed, the more likely the black beast was to follow their scent and smoke. Sol placed the 2 cooled bugs on the empty side of the wrapper and folded them separately so they would not touch the remaining chocolate. Minjun transferred an ember to the end of one of the dry roots he had saved. He wrapped it in thin bark so the tip would burn slowly. Then came the sound of claws scraping rock from higher up. Minjun and Sol turned toward the entrance at the same time. The sound was not far away. Sol braced herself against the wall and stood.
We found somewhere to eat. Now let's find somewhere to sleep without being discovered.
Minjun shouldered his backpack and pulled Sol's arm over his shoulder. Then, from the passage above, came the sound of the 2 stones they had just set up striking each other.